What's up? What's up? Welcome tonight to the Gimmick Table with your hosts Boogaloo and LowRyda. What's up, chunk?
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Hey, we want to give a shout out to Cicada for our awesome music and that awesome video you saw. Give a shout out to Cicada Band. They do all the music for all the MWA shows. Hey, I'm gonna start by paying some bills. Let's start by doing that. All right. First up is sleeps.com.
Tampa, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
I got you.
Sleeves.com. Sleeves offers great quality products from arm sleeves, knee sleeves, headbands, tights, joggers, socks, even dirty boxers. If you or someone in your life is an athlete, then you need to check out sleeves.com. Use the promo code MWA Pod and get your 10% discount. Sean, let me tell you, I want to thank you again for or getting me a new pair of boxers for my birthday this past weekend. I was on vacation this weekend in Ybor City, and guess what I did? I warmed to the pool. But with all that rain going on, there was no action. All right. What we got next?
Well, you know what, man? At least you tried. All right. I'm going to give a shout out to healthvape.com. Health Vape sells healthy vaping alternatives. All their products have no nicotine, no harmful or addictive chemicals, and they are vitamin infused. So make sure to pick yourself up some of their vape and pod products using our code MWA Pod for a 10% discount.
Also, we got the Wrestling Universe. The Wrestling Universe is your one-stop shop for all your wrestling merchandise. They have all kinds of WWE, TNA / Impact, UFC, WCW, ECW action figures, past and present. They carry t-shirts, wrestling cards, autograph 8x10s, lucha mask, belts, and much more. They also have in-store signings with some of the biggest names in the industry today. The signings are going on a weekly basis. Every weekend he has a signing. So if you're in the New York or tri-state area, you might want to do yourself a favor and check it out. And just so you know, all autographs items come with certificate of authenticity, and they also ship internationally. Check out wrestlinguniverse.com.
Hey, who's you got coming up? I know you got a cool few people coming up right now.
Yeah, he has July 18th. He has Greg the Hammer Valentine and Wildfire Tommy Rich. And July 24th, he has Eric Rowan and Rod Simmons. And he got future dates in August with Mickey James, Darby Allin, Moose, Josh Alexander, Johnny Swinger. In September, Kurt Angle's coming into Wrestling Universe.
Wow, Kurt
Angle. In September, he has RVD with his lady Katie Forbes. She's gonna be twerking. Awesome. She's gonna be twerking in the store. And on October, Mick Foley, yes, Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love. I don't know who's gonna show up, but they'll be there.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. And if you really like our show, guys, make sure y'all subscribe and we check out some of the other shows that are on our network. We have shows like Killing the Business with ECW Original, The Kingpin Angel, King Mega, and the Crisco Kid, Glenn Sexton.
We also got Shooting the Shit Uncensored with the Aussie podcast machine, Pierce Austin. Just gotta be on the lookout for that because you never know when he's gonna drop an episode.
And of course, we can't forget, last but not least, Get Funked with Alan Queeley Funk. He's been doing great things. He's always got some great WCW stars, taking me back to my childhood of being a fan of WCW, So, hey, guys, make sure y'all tune in, check out their shows, like them, subscribe them, follow us,
Twitch.tv/NWA World and at YouTube.com, Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance. There you go, right down there.
Follow it down there. But all right, guys.
With that being said, you know what time it is. Oh, hell. The Knights of the Gimmick Table, where the truth gets spit at the infamous round table and your feelings get left at the door. I am Boogaloo. This is LowRyda, and welcome to Knights of the Gimmick Table, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, y'all? And thank y'all for tuning in. Just so y'all know, this guy right here, he's making his return on our show because everybody was asking. They were wanting to know when is he going to be back. And they want to know. And they want to know. They really want to know. What's he going to say? today.
Masked Maniac Part 2. What's up, Frank Goodman?
Hey,
How's your,
everybody.
let me start the show by saying, how's your penis?
It's still broken.
Ah,
You know,
I was hoping you had good news for us.
No, I mean, it's, I got a broken penis. What can I tell you? I listen, if I would love to have a great story like, yeah, I got in this fight and I got punched in the penis. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, I had a botched shoulder surgery and my blood pressure got too high.
And you broke your
And
penis.
my body just, I forget what the word was that they used.
Your body's rejecting your
The
penis.
trauma. My body went into trauma, and the next day, it's like this. What can I tell you? So I get big needles.
Alan Funk, what's up, brother?
I've come to grips with it. It is
Hey.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will tell you. Let me tell you. The coolest thing about it is it got me into not wearing underwear.
Oh man. Hey, I do
so
that
you're just
too.
going around commando now.
Yeah, I wish I would have done
Rolling
this
out there
20 years
commando.
ago.
That's what I normally answer the door like that when Jehovah's Witness knock on my door. I'm like, what do you
Right.
want? And I just wear a t-shirt and no underwear.
You answer your door.
Yeah, I want them to see.
There's absolutely nobody I want to come knocking at my door.
Really, I just open the blinds. I just open the blinds up
I
to
don't
my
answer
waist.
my door.
Because my front window's there, so I open the blinds only up to my waist, and they see me naked there. I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah, I'm not opening my door for anybody. There is absolutely nobody in the world that can knock on my door that I would give two poops about.
Oh man.
Yeah, definitely.
There's really not.
We
So
got
what do we
Pierce
got?
Austin. We got Pierce Austin in the building. We got Alan Funk in the building.
Cool.
We got King Mega in the building. Everybody,
I want to
tuning in.
actually, I want to say something about King Mega. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So all the years I've run, I don't know, I promoted like 800 and something shows, and pretty much everybody in the wrestling business at some point has worked for me at some point.
Yeah.
Mega is the one guy
Except for Mega.
Oh, I don't know. He may
say
have worked.
that? No,
he
he's
may
never-
have worked
never
one
worked for you.
show. I don't know.
No, he said he's never gotten the
He
opportunity.
said he's the only New York guy never to work for you.
Well, let me tell you something. He's the one guy I regret not working for me, because I always wanted to do something really, really cool with him, and I just don't know why it never happened.
Well,
I mean, anytime I met him, I think we were always like cordial and stuff.
Well, good news for you, Frank. He lives in Florida.
Does he really live in Florida?
Yes, he lives in the Tampa area.
Does he really?
He'll be willing to work for you.
Well, that's awful nice. Will he be willing to sell tickets? No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of here.
Hey, I listen. I stopped asking guys to sell tickets years ago. No, when we come back to run our shows, 100% I would put Mega on the shows. I like him.
He's probably one of the best big men in the business, like legit big men.
Yeah, I've always liked him. And Shane Wayne at NYWC.
Yeah,
he always said to me, Frank, why don't you use Mega? And I would always say to Shane, because anytime I used somebody from NYWC, Shane would actually get them for me.
right.
And Shane would, he'd always say, hey, you want to use Mega? And I'm like, yeah, of course. He's gigantic. And he would just never mention it again, because Shane is he's the best guy in the world.
Oh yeah, Shane's awesome.
You can never say anything bad about Shane, but he's so fast.
Yeah.
You can have a stroke trying to keep a conversation with him.
He's like on Ritalin.
Yes, absolutely. My two regrets: not using Mega, and not doing more with Tim Arson.
Tim was he was a heat getter, man. He knew how to get heat, man.
Tim really could work, but it was just so annoying. Why don't you do this with me? Why don't you do that? I'm better than this guy. I'm better than that one. And looking back on it, Tim may have been right, but you just don't want to listen to it all the time. But I love Tim. I should have done more with Tim Arson.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
So definitely good dude. So Frank, Pierce Austin, he's also on this. He's the ones that runs MWA, but he's a fellow Australian, just
Oh,
like
is he
your wife. Yeah, he's in Sydney. He lives in Sydney.
really?
Yeah.
Uh, did we ever meet there? Because when I was living there in
No, he
Sydney.
doesn't. He doesn't. He. I don't think he's ever met you, but he knows the legend of you.
Oh, that's cool. I appreciate it. When I was living in Sydney, um, a lot of local promoters in Sydney, and I'm sorry, Pierce, is it?
Yeah,
I'm
Pierce.
sorry if I don't remember the names of the
Yeah,
promoters.
Pierce.
These guys used to come to me every day, and they're like, "Hey, we want to coach. We want you to co-promote a show with us." And every time one of these guys would ask me to come to their show, they got 15 people in the audience, and I just couldn't do it because it's so expensive to bring talent over.
Right.
So I went to an amusement park called Wonderland. Pierce will tell you about it. At the time, this was like the Disney World of Sydney. And, it's since closed down and went down the hill. But my wife and I, we met with the heads of Wonderland, and they agreed to do a mega wrestling tour. We were going to do like 24 shows in 12 days. And this was going to be a sold show.
So
And-
would it have been like what the shows that they do in the UK and London, like the resort shows and stuff?
Well, yes.
Okay.
But this was going to be what's called a sold show. And a sold show, Lou, for those of you who don't know, the venue pays for the whole show. Like the venue will pay, I'll make an imaginary figure. The venue will pay $100,000 for 24 shows. Out of that $100,000, I have to budget that show where, of course, I can make enough money to make it worthwhile. So I budgeted this really cool string of shows. I had everybody set for it. It was going to be Snuka, Bundy, Boogalou. It's hard to remember, probably like Valentine and all those guys. And this was back in the early 90s. And it was going to be something like 100,000. I probably would have came away with like $20,000. And I made the mistake of telling somebody. I don't remember who it was. And they told somebody else who went in there, got all the guys I was going to use, booked a show down there, and it bombed. It bombed big time. I mean, they may have brought the metal Jeff Miller, the Metal Maniac there, and they overpaid the wrestlers so much that they had no chance of making any money.
Yeah.
And that
they
was
were
it.
willing to bring in him to Australia. It wasn't.
Oh
the
yeah,
best,
because you were at the time, at that point, you were looking at $2,500 for a coach seat back in the early 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, but I always wanted to do something in Australia. But when you're talking about a couple,
Australia's like a hotbed right now.
Well, not right now because they're on lockdown again.
No,
Yeah,
but
they're on
for
lockdown
wrestling,
again.
for wrestling, it's a hotbed.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean-
Well, one of the great things about it is, and I'm sure Pierce will tell you, gambling is legal in Sydney, and they have clubs, and you go to these clubs and you have dinner and you play slot machines, but they have little ballrooms where you can run wrestling shows, almost like the VFW halls here.
Yeah.
But because it's a gambling thing, you could make a fortune there. But again, the problem is you have promoters in Sydney and in Australia, Melbourne, that are flying in. I'm not going to say the names of the wrestlers, but they're flying in indie guys who have a marginal name. And, of course, you bring somebody to Australia, you're paying an indie guy $3,000 to come down for a week. With airfare, you're looking at you're looking at probably a total of $6,000 to bring one guy in.
Wow.
And it's a guy that won't draw any more than 10 more people.
Yeah.
And that ruins the market. It burns the city, It burns the city.
Yeah, Pierce said that next time you're in Sydney, you can meet up with him and grab some beers, but I think he means piss, right?
Well, I don't drink, but I appreciate it. Once the virus is really over and traveling is comfortable, I go down for a month every year. So yeah, definitely.
All right.
Definitely near Campbelltown.
We can try and link. We can try.
That's what your wife is from, Sydney, Frank?
My wife is from Sydney. For those who don't know, I don't know if you know, Lou. My wife is actually a Polynesian Japanese. So my wife's an Asian Polynesian.
Oh, wow.
And her dad was a pearl diver in a place called Thursday Island. So it's very, very Polynesian in Australia. Everybody thinks everybody has blonde hair and blue eyes, and that's not what it really is.
Yeah, Pierce says that's about 40 minutes from him.
Yeah, I bet Pierce knows who my niece is. Pierce, my niece is Starly. I don't know if you guys know. You know who my niece is?
No.
If you look her up online, she's a huge pop singer currently. Okay. She had a big song with a Call on Me was the name of her song. So if you look her up, Starly Hope, he'll know who she is because she's pretty famous.
He said he knows her.
Yeah, she's pretty famous and stuff.
Awesome, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so we want to do something different with you today.
Sure.
We want to, because you've ran so many shows and so many interesting people have come through your doors and wrestled in your rings. We would like to ask you, like, we'll drop a name and you tell us what you really think of them.
All right.
I know you pull no punches.
Not really.
All
right. Let's go with how about Balls Mahoney?
Oh, I love Balls.
Yeah,
I did. I mean, Balls Mahoney was technically one of the best wrestlers around, and you guys know it.
Oh yeah,
because Balls was a real collegiate wrestler. You guys witnessed what other people don't. Balls could go 60 minutes, and he could chain wrestle with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Balls worked for me maybe 300 times. Never a drug issue, never in anything until he left WWE.
Okay.
When he left WWE, John had a very, very hard time.
Yeah.
And we had in the 300 shows he worked for me, we had our only issue.
Was that the hotel thing down here?
Yes. I never, ever, ever get hotels for wrestlers because of things like this. He took a girl to a hotel and in blood, he wrote their names on the wall.
Is that the thing where like the room was covered in shit and blood?
Yep. Absolutely. And I had to pay for it. And, he apologized some time later. And
I told Angel that story, right? And Angel goes, it doesn't surprise me. He was always into that bullshit. He goes, if Goodman would have known he was famous for that.
Yeah. See, one thing with me is everybody used to say, Frank, how could you afford having 15 famous guys on your shows? Well, the first thing was I would never buy anybody a hotel room or an airline ticket because anytime I bought them an airline ticket, I got burned. So once I got burned a couple times, I would just tell the wrestlers, hey, look, I'm going to give you a little extra money. Mm-hmm. You get your own hotel, you get your own airline ticket. And, John didn't have a credit card. And I've known him for, 18, 19 years at the time. And that was it.
I know
he was
him a
great
long time too. And I knew he took a turn for the worse. One day I'm working on Jewel Avenue. I'm coming down with the bus and I pull into the first stop. And he don't even live out on Casino Boulevard and Jewel Avenue. He does not live there. He was standing in the bus stop there smoking a cigar. I go, what the hell are you doing there? He goes, oh, I'm just hanging out. That's a bad area, the Promenade Projects.
I know it. I know Promenade well. I grew up on Main and Jewel.
Right. So so I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, I'm at a show with him in Philly. It's one of them ECW shows, reunion shows. And It was really hot that day, and I'm on a loading dock. I'm talking to my wife on the loading dock, and I'm like, hey, like I'm off in the corner. He didn't know I was there. I seen him come out with his chair. He unfolded his chair and he like busted something open. It was like a red, and he made a line and he snorted it right in front of me. And then he saw me. He goes, "Oh man," he goes, "Hey, I go, listen, man, I don't give a fuck what you do. That's your life. That's your business." And that was the same day that New Jack attacked him and like about stabbed him right before the show started.
Yeah, it's sad with John because I mean he was the 8-time USA Pro champion.
Mhm.
He never ever missed a booking, ever.
Right.
I would pay him in advance. He would always show up, never an issue. And you guys know me. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never had a drink in my life. I've never taken a drug in my life. That's why I'm in such constant pain. And I watched him count 50 somas and take them at one time.
I believe it.
Shit.
One time. People think, and a lot of wrestlers are probably going to get mad at me, but like I really care.
Yeah.
People think all these wrestlers die from cocaine and heroin. They don't. These guys walk around incoherent because they're shoving muscle relaxers down their throat.
Yep.
And, people say all the time, and I've really never said this before, but hey, Frank, why did this guy no show? Hey, Frank, why did that guy no show? Hey, Frank, why did this guy no show? And the fact is, 90% of the guys who no showed my shows were because they were stoned out of their minds on muscle relaxers or something. We had guys that would show up to the building and I couldn't bring them out. I couldn't bring them out because they were sleeping face first.
Yep.
On a table in the locker room.
We had an incident at one of your shows on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know why you're keeping it quiet.
Missy Hyatt.
I'll say it. Missy and Tammy were face first in the sand, unconscious. For those who don't know, I used to live on the beach, and I used to run wrestling shows on the beach. I ran like 4 or 5 of them. And I used to do it just for the kids in the community. They were free shows. I didn't charge anybody. I made money off the video, of course.
Right.
And they were great shows. We had all these famous people on the show.
We had good times on them.
Yeah.
Shows.
And Missy Hyatt and Tammy were unconscious, face first on the sand. Missy, to this day, won't talk to me, only because I tell the story. What should I do? I should make up what didn't happen? The ambulance had to come. It happened.
Yep. Let me see who else we got. What do you think of the triple threat? Boogalou, Candido, and Shane Douglas.
Okay. For those people who don't know, and I know I keep saying that, because the new generation of wrestler have no clue who I am, which is cool with me. Boogalou was my best friend. I don't even know if you guys knew that.
Yeah, we knew.
Scott and I were best friends for, I don't know, since the mid 80s. I met Scott. Paul Heyman used to come I used to work at a gym when I was a bodybuilder, and he used to come and hang out with me at the late night when I worked overnight. And he used to tell me, I want to introduce you to Bam Bam. And I thought he meant Terry Gordy. And then they had this thing going on at the Meadowlands called Pro Wrestling USA, where they mixed the NWA and the AWA around 1985 or so.
Right.
And I was a little bit into training to be a wrestler. And I went there, and I went with the Road Warriors. It was me and Hawk and Animal in 1985, and Sergeant Slaughter, because we were all really good friends in those days. And Boogalou was doing ring crew for Larry Sharp, who they rented his ring for that night. And I helped do the ring crew that night, and Scott and I became pretty inseparable after that.
Definitely.
And for many years, I handled all of his bookings. So if somebody wanted to, if another promoter wanted to book Scott, and Scott didn't want to talk to them, I would take the booking. And I would then pass it on to Scott, and I didn't take any money for it, but in return, Scott worked for me for nothing. He refused to take pay from me. Refused to.
Yeah.
you know.
How you doing, hot gamer woman?
But he had a rough time at the end.
I remember he lost all that weight.
Yeah,
And, he was down. He was down to like 200. No, he was actually like he looked like he was working out.
Yeah, no,
he got down to like 225, right?
Yeah, he wasn't working out. What happened is, you know, he had back surgery.
Okay.
And he didn't handle it well.
Yeah.
And he lost a lot of weight. And then he vanished and this and that. And it was bad. He disappeared for about 6 months. He opened a sandwich shop. He came back. You know, he had a very messy situation with his wife. And I don't want to get into that because, you know, that's, you know.
Yeah.
But he had a really rough time. He couldn't break away from the pain medicine. And, you know, there was a show he worked for me where he fell asleep at the Gimmick table. There was a show.
Was that Amazura?
That was Amazura.
You want me to tell you why that happened?
Sure.
You want to tell him, Chung, or you want me to do that?
That was the day with the lollipops, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Shane
Douglas and Chris Candido.
They all had morphine lollipops.
Shane Douglas came in with like a little cooler with these morphine like lollipops, popsicles, or whatever, and they were just going through them the whole time.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me. You know, Scott never missed one of my shows when he wasn't working for WCW or WWE, and he didn't show up to one of my shows. He fell asleep on the highway and got arrested. And that happened multiple times. The 2 times he no-showed me, that's what happened. But I mean, he was a great person. You know, I remember.
No, he was great to us.
Yeah, he was super cool in the locker room. Like, even to, you know, at that time I was greener than baby shit, you know. And the first time I ever met him, I just remember I was like, "Holy shit, that's Bam Bam Bigelow."
Yeah,
went over and introduced myself, and
he sat next to us. He sat next to us and changed with us.
Yeah, you know, I did a show at the Hollywood Atrium.
Yep.
And he's like, "Frank, man, you need more famous guys on the show." And I'm like, "Scott," I said, "airfare it was a holiday weekend." I said, "There's no getting guys here because of the holiday." He went ahead and gives me he gave me his frequent flyer account. And he said, "Here, go bring 3 people in." So he gave me almost 100,000 frequent flyer miles to fly guys in. You know, he was just great. Scott was great. Candido, you guys know how I feel about Candido. Yeah. To me, Chris Candido is and always will be the greatest in-ring wrestler ever. It's just how I feel. People will disagree, but Chris was amazing.
Nah, Chris was great.
He
could work with anybody.
Yeah, Chris could work with anybody. Chris was fantastic. I spoke to Chris the day he passed away. And, you know, I guess I probably shouldn't say what he said. But, you know, he made it very clear someone wants to kill him. And someone's not taking care of him.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
Yeah, I wonder who that was. And but Chris was great. I knew Chris for many years. Chris was my co-host on my hotline when I used to have the local
hotline back in the day.
Yep. And and I'll tell you, I'll tell you about Shane Douglas. I think I'm the only one that doesn't have a peep bad to say about Shane Douglas. And Shane's worked for me maybe 40, 50 times. He busted his butt every single time. He never ever did Chris. Let me tell you, never did Candido, never did Shane Douglas, never did Boogalou ever say, "I don't want to lose to that guy." Never.
I think they're all great. They're all great guys,
yeah.
man.
Never. You
know, that's just what we observed that day.
Yeah,
absolutely. That shit was disappointing to see. You know,
very, very. But you know, I'll tell you when Shane Douglas went to work at Target. You remember that?
Yeah.
When he went to work at Target, that's when I said to myself, "This is a real man."
Yeah.
Because to be on TV to have people know who you are and to suck it up
Excuse me.
and to go work at Target so you can feed your family is what real men do.
Yeah, 100%.
So I could never say a bad thing about Shane Douglas. I couldn't.
No.
You know, I couldn't. You know, but you got to give me somebody hard.
Hey, I got a good one for you right here.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
What about
American
this guy, the
Giant.
American Giant?
Why does that sound familiar? The American. Oh, the big schmuck. What a moron. What now? For those of you who don't know who this guy is, you have to look up the American Giant. What is he? About 7 feet tall.
Oh, he's big fuck.
He's big.
He's about 7 feet tall. He has
Sorrier than a bitch.
He has no teeth.
He's
Okay.
always like,
Yeah. He makes me look like Shawn Michaels.
I love the promos though. With that,
the promos,
whoever that lady is, those promos are great.
Oh my God!
Who's the black dude with the
Freight Train?
Freight Train, yeah.
You know, people would say, "Why would you bring these two in?" And you don't bring them in for their work quality. You bring them in for their promos.
Entertainment factor.
It's funny.
Fucking
It's
Freight
funny.
Train, dude.
I mean, I think the guy's a complete imbecile.
Freight Train cuts that promo on Lindsay. He's not even got nothing to do with Lindsay Snow, but he cuts a promo. Cuts a promo how he's gonna take her back to his hotel and put in her cootie cat. Put in her cootie cat.
I think Freight Train is great. I couldn't say a bad thing about him.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
I think the American Giant's an idiot, though.
I got another one for you.
Yeah, I think he's an idiot and a moron.
Memories of Mike V, aka Psycho Sam Dudley.
All right, do we know where he is?
Nope.
Hopefully dead.
Okay.
Fuck him.
All right, I'm good. Listen, I want to tell everybody what I'm telling everybody is my opinion. Okay, I'm going to tell everybody my opinion, and I have nothing to back it up. Okay. Well, I do. I mean, I have firsthand knowledge. Okay. I don't know how he didn't drop dead. You want to know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Okay.
Yeah, tell us.
I've never spoken about this. I've always kept my mouth shut. Okay. Bubba Ray Dudley hates my guts. He hates me.
Because you brought in that guy?
No. Bubba Ray Dudley despises me. He hates me. Now listen to this. Up until the day we met, we never met. If that makes sense to you, okay? I'm going to pick an imaginary year, okay? Let's say the first time I met Bubba Ray Dudley was, I don't know. Let's say 2005 was the first time I met him, okay? That's an imaginary year, okay? Probably later than that, but let's say 2010 was the first time I met him. Only time I met him. I'm getting phone calls from Rob Feinstein. I'm getting phone calls from Raven. I'm having people in my gym tell me, Bubba Ray Dudley hates you and he wants to kill you. Okay? Because you said bad things about his family. You said bad things about this one. You said bad things about that one.
How dare you talk bad about Psycho Sam Dudley?
Okay. And I'm telling this guy, what the hell are you talking about? He calls on the phone at the Chris Candido Memorial Show. He says, I'm on my way there to beat you up. All right. Okay. So I spend the whole time in the parking lot waiting.
Now, was it really him or was it somebody?
No, it was really him. But here's the story. And for years, I kept saying, I want to be able to stand in front of him and explain to him, I'm not the guy. What happened is this, okay? Psycho Sam Dudley, Michael Vartanian, was with Alex one day.
Right.
Big Dick Dudley. Mm-hmm. And they were acting stupid and they were playing a joke. And Vartanian was telling people he was me.
There we go.
And Michael Vartanian was saying bad stuff. I found this out years later because I knew Bubba Ray Dudley's sister from my gym. And very nice girl. We always got along really, really well. And I got very sick one time. I had what's called the TIA stroke. And I was out of the gym for about 6 months with this. When I went back to the gym, his sister told me to go F myself. And I looked at her. I said, "Why?" You said bad things about my brother, about my some of her family. I said, "I don't know any of your family." I said, "Why would I say anything like that?" And I explained the story to her, and I think she understood. And then this other guy that worked in the gym, he says to me, "I heard this story that you said this." He said, "Never, ever. Never would I say anything because I didn't even know him."
Right.
I didn't know the guy. And it was really crazy. And then I found out sometime later that Vartanian was going up to people and saying bad stuff about Bubba Ray Dudley. And he was saying he was Frank Goodman. He was actually saying he was me. And I was at an audition for a Coors Light commercial or Bud Light commercial. And Bubba Ray Dudley was there. And I walked up to him and I said, he said, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, "Oh, nothing." I said, "Can we talk for a minute?" He's like, "Sure." And he said, "What's your name?" I said, "Frank." He said, "Frank what?" I said, "Frank Goodman." He says, "Go F yourself." And I said, "I'm not the guy you think." I said, I'm trying to tell him that somebody else was saying they were me.
Yeah.
And it really, even up to this day, it bothers me. And I'm going to tell you why. Since I've been running shows in Florida, 90% of the indie guys I use are trained by him.
Right.
And his training has helped my Florida shows so much. I've always wanted to say to him, be able to have the chance to say, "I'm not the guy. You got the wrong guy. You hate the wrong guy." And never ever do I do that. I never say to somebody, "Hey, but I'm not the guy." I'll talk bad about anybody.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. My kids like Dylan likes to watch him on TV. And I'm like, "Yeah, you can't watch him. He hates you. He hates you, father." But I like him. I think he's he's my type of guy. Even though everybody hates this guy, I don't.
Yeah.
I like him. All right,
I got somebody for you.
But hold on. Vartanian, okay? It's very important, okay? There's a correlation of all the people who dropped dead and Michael Vartanian. I don't know what it is, but it just, everybody who gets sick and something bad happens when it's related to drugs, he was always there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying the guy had anything to do with anything because I don't know. I know nothing about drugs.
Right.
Somebody wrote, "Why would somebody do that?" Oh, listen, because they were acting like
shit.
Yeah, because that's what he is.
He is.
He's a piece of garbage. And I remember when Big Dick Dudley came over my house and he said to me, "Oh man, I think I got some bad crap." And I'm like, "Well, where'd you buy it from?" "Oh, from who." And Jerry the Wall. Jerry said to me, he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go to Japan." He goes, "You got Michael Vartanian's phone number?" I said, "No."
You want to know something? So funny you say that because I was just listening to another podcast from one of Kwee-Wee's podcasts, and they were him and Reno were talking about it, and Reno to this day believes Justin Incredible was the one that gave the Wall this stuff. But you telling me?
Oh, I could tell you that. Listen, I can't tell you that he's ever given stuff to anybody because I've never. I'm
just saying he asking for that guy's number.
Right. I'm anti-drugs.
Right.
So I want nothing to do with drugs. I never have. But I think because I was a bodybuilder, I think Jerry the Wall thought that I was a steroid guy, as was so many guys. And he was very direct. He's like, "Hey, they say that that's where people get their stuff from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I refused to give him the phone number, and then Jerry passed away that week.
Yep.
He passed away that week.
Okay. How about Jimmy Snuka and his cronies, the Metal Maniac, the Strangler, and his jabroni son? What was his name again? Deuce.
Oh, Solo.
Solo, yeah.
He blocked me on Facebook because I wouldn't book him anymore.
Yeah, Brandy. I do have strong feelings about that guy. He's a piece of shit.
Listen, Snuka's worked on my shows. I don't know. I want to say 300 plus times. I got to take the Superfly like 3 or 4 times. He broke my forearm once. Actually, this one. I am the one who booked Jimmy Snuka on Nitro. I got him the booking. I handled Jimmy's bookings for a long time. I love Jimmy.
Jimmy's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's the one guy you could wrestle and you would not feel anything. You really wouldn't.
You feel the splash.
I only did that one time where he said I was positioned wrong.
I know he used to come down heavy on that splash.
Yeah, he did, but he was pretty okay with me on it. It was really the elbow. Jimmy was fantastic.
Jimmy was awesome. Let me tell you something, Frank. Like, for me, Jimmy Snuka and Tonga, when you bring those guys in, to me, that's a big piece of my childhood. Like,
me too.
Like Tonga coming in to the last show we did?
2 shows ago.
I wanted to, when I saw him, like that was the first time I saw him, like, in person. I almost got tears in my eyes because that was one of the guys I look up to growing up. Because growing up, he was the only guy I could relate to. He's dark like me. He had the afro. I was a little kid running around with an afro. So that's
I get it. I've known Jimmy since the mid '80s, and Jimmy was amazing. I mean, he did things for me on my shows that you wouldn't believe. You guys know because you've been around the indies a long time.
Yeah.
A typical, you take a guy like Snuka, you put him on an indie show.
5-minute match.
He's going to give you 5 minutes. He's going to give you a leapfrog. He's going to do the chops, and sometimes he'll give you a second rope superfly. Okay. On my shows, Jimmy would bleed. Mm-hmm. Jimmy would do 40-minute matches. Jimmy wanted to be a heel. He would.
The goatee, and the boot.
Right. Yeah. Jimmy did the Superfly in one match versus Big Dick Dudley. Alex's last match, by the way. He did 3 Superflies in that match. He did one off the top rope outside the ring through a table.
Yep.
Then he brought Alex in. He did 2 more in the ring. Broke Alex's elbow. Alex never wrestled again.
Wow.
Yeah. Metal Maniac. I mean, Jeff was my tag team partner. Jeff and I are on very, very good terms right now.
You guys probably had the same amount of good matches, right?
Jeff, listen. Jeff listen. I was good for 5 matches out of my 4,000.
He was probably good for 2.
No, listen. If the Metal Maniac was in the 80s, he could have been a WWE star in the 80s. He was a classic 80s type guy. Yeah. He was. Yeah. But let me tell you some funny stories here. So I'm in Hawaii 25 years ago, and I'm walking with my wife, and we're like, Jeff always talks about this restaurant in Hawaii. We were passing a place called Fatty's Chinese food. And while my wife and I are walking, we're saying to ourselves, this is the place Jeff talked about. All of a sudden, I look in the middle of the street. 300-pound Jeff is riding in the middle of the street on a little moped. Okay? Flash forward a couple years later. I'm laying on the beach, and this guy walks up to me. Oh, my God. How do I forget his name? You guys know I've had a lot of concussions, something that I forget. Rocky Iakea. You know Rocky Iakea is?
No.
Okay. Rocky. Okay.
But
Rocky.
Is that Prince Iakea from WCW?
Similar. They're all related. But Rocky was a big wrestling star.
You talking about Curtis? King Curtis, IKEA?
Not King Curtis.
Okay.
King Curtis owned the
Probably
chair.
related to him too.
King Curtis owned the chair concession on Waikiki Beach. He used to rent the chairs. No, Rocky has the. I'm sure it's IKEA. I'm pretty sure it's Rocky IKEA. He used to have a catamaran that you rent on Waikiki Beach, and he comes up to me, goes, "You're the Masked Maniac, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You know that Jeff Miller?" I'm like, "Absolutely." He did this. He did. All of a sudden, I got 20 people coming up to me on the beach telling me stories about Jeff. Jeez. It's the craziest thing. If you think I'm legendary, Jeff could blow me away. You know, he's Jeff's a piece of work, but he knows the business. He knows what it is.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what this business is about. You know, but the son. You know, Jimmy used to tell me that was his son. You know, I mean, he used to bring another girl to the shows and tell me it was his daughter.
Yeah, that was his daughter, Liana. Liana was a great girl.
And what happened to her?
She went. Well, she went back to school. So she went to BYU Hawaii, and she was going to finish her degree. So I used to talk to her a lot. She was a great girl. She's the oldest sister.
She was great.
Yeah, she's their older sister.
Tamina
and the other kid.
Yes, but Snooker's son had his first match for me.
Yeah, it was for you.
For me. Yeah, of course, they all forget that, you know. Yeah. And
garbage.
Yeah, Stryker had his first match for me. A lot of people did. And but Jimmy teamed with his first show. You did.
Me and Stryker teamed up.
That's right. Yeah. At the Hollywood.
Where's the Boogie Nights?
Atrium.
At the Hollywood Atrium. That's right. But
he was the original.
He wasn't called Stryker.
It was Hydro, and I was LowRyda, and we were the Los Lunatics.
That's right. Wow.
Yep.
So who else we got?
Yeah,
damn, I'm trying to think now. Who's another? Well, I have somebody here asking about the wrestling mime. Wacky Eric Adams asking about the wrestling mime. You remember that guy? I don't know who the hell that is.
I have no clue.
Neither do I. What about Prince Nana? Since Mega wants to know.
Nana.
The Tooth.
Well, the Tooth. I lost. I mean, I don't know. Was Nana's first match for me, or I don't know.
No.
He wrestled before.
Around for a bit.
I mean, Nana's great. You know, awesome. I mean, Nana worked for me a lot. Nana and I, we had this little bond. You know, we just really got along really, really well. You know, he dealt with a lot of racism that I had to see myself. You know, he worked for me on one of my shows, and he was waiting for a taxi cab.
Oh yeah, that was in the beach.
Yeah, and people were calling the police on him.
Yeah, that was at the beach.
Him and Abunai. He was black, and
him and Abunai.
Abunai just vanished. He was all right.
Yeah,
Abunai was cool.
But you know,
I don't know who's that awesome Anto 100. He said he had his first match for you also. I don't know who he is. So,
but you know, Nana wrestled.
Who are you?
Nana wrestled Ken Sweeney at the Knights of Columbus.
We told this story before.
We had Nana on the show.
Nana told the story. You told the story. Nana told the story. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't mind buying my tooth.
Who else, Sean? Who you got?
Man, who's another character? I'm trying to think of a good character.
The Equalizer and Thunderbolt.
Oh, man.
Well, the Equalizer, again, somebody who I liked. If I remember correctly, he might have owned a construction company or did very well with construction. And
hang on, who is the Equalizer? To do with the chaps?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
He was one of Bigelow's very good friends. They would go hunting together. And Paulie was his name. And
he died, right?
I don't remember him passing away. I'm not saying he didn't. I don't remember it. But you know, he wasn't a very talented wrestler. But you know, he looked the part. But it was funny.
I thought I used to call him the fake Mike Enos. Remember?
Yeah.
But I used to be in the crowd.
It was funny because
Mike Penis.
You know how a vet will shoot on somebody.
Yeah.
He's shooting on people, and he's a rookie.
Yeah, he didn't know.
No, and Manny gave him a beating.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about Kid USA. I'm hijacking the show.
Go
We're
ahead,
going to talk about Kid
Yes,
USA.
let's do it.
Oh, Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Great guy, nice fella. Used to sell 50 tickets a show. But he was, oh God, do you want? I don't know.
He died too.
Yeah, you know what? He has
Thunderbolt died?
Yeah, years ago.
He was hanging out with Chris Candido.
You know what? He
Wow.
has children, so I'm going to skip over Thunderbolt because I remember he had children.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story about Thunderbolt. He's from Johnny's. So this guy character, one day I'm coming and we have a student show, and he shows up in full gimmick already. I go, what? I said, you drove?
I know, yeah.
I said, you drove full gimmick? He goes, yeah. Well, when you're a star, you always got to be in star mode. I was like, all right, bro.
Hey, man.
Yeah, it's
I remember those fucking
Yeah,
the promo picture.
Yeah,
Holding the watermelon.
It's
Hey.
his girlfriend told me how he made his money, and because he had children at the time, I'm going to skip over him.
So somebody asked a question. Do you see any of your kids going into wrestling?
No.
No.
Willie's 22. He's 6'5", but no, Willie owns a successful photography business, and he's an artist. Now, some of you may find this to be a bit silly, what I'm going to say, but I don't really care. If you've ever looked at,
it's still alive, by the way.
If you've ever looked at the videos,
Ooh.
I don't know if you've ever seen videos of my son Dylan playing basketball.
No, I've seen him on his TikTok.
All right, you know what a star he is, don't you?
Yeah.
He is a big. Do you know he has famous girls writing him like crazy?
I believe it. He's a good-looking kid.
But listen, for those of you who don't know, Dylan was the 3-time Junior Orlando Magic MVP. Dylan played in a league that went up to 18-year-olds. When he was 13 years old, he was the MVP.
Oh wow!
He's 5'8" now, but at the Amway Center, Dylan was 17 of 20 from 3. So, what's his face? Not Glenn Rice. I forget who it is. Dylan plays with NBA players. He plays with NBA players weekly. These guys seem to feel Dylan will be in the NBA one day.
That'd be awesome.
It's crazy because to me, he's a little boy.
Yeah, I still gonna always look at him as both of them. I'm gonna always remember them.
Yeah,
and diapers running around the shows.
Yes, I know, but it's nuts. But I want to tell you some Kid USA stories. I don't know if you guys know these. Kid USA, known as Kid Onions, right? You didn't think I'd say it.
Yeah.
We were running shows in the 90s. We were running 3 to 4 shows a week at one point. Before you came along, Lou, we were running in New Jersey Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday in Seagirt, New Jersey, at the Armory, in Howell, New Jersey, in Perth Amboy, in Bayonne, and we were running nonstop. And we're getting 1,000 people every show. We're doing 3,000 to 4,000 attendance each week in 3 to 4 different shows. And there was a point where we did Kid USA versus Manny Fernandez. And somebody said the second best promoter in New York.
Who's the best?
I would love to know who the best is, considering I drew 1,000 every show.
Hold on, I'm wondering if this person is saying that they are the second best.
Oh, okay, that's possible.
Because that's the person that said that they had their first show for you, their first match on your show also.
I got you. That's
but cool. They ain't,
But anyway, so there was a point where I believe 6-7 shows in a row, Kid USA wrestled. Is that Billy
Howell?
Is that I forget Billy's last name because my mind's not good. I wrestled Billy and Hal, if that's Billy. Anyway, Manny beat him up every show. I mean, brutally beat him up. And he beat him up. Billy. He beat him up so bad, right? That Kid USA had to send his girlfriend in the building to look at the lineup sheet before he would come in. And he said he would not come in the building if he was going to face.
Now, why was Manny beating them up again?
Because Manny beat up everybody in the mid-90s. Manny was stiff.
Right.
You know, but there was something about Armand that rubbed Manny the wrong way.
Maybe it was the smell.
It might have been. So Armand says, you know, I'm not going to come in and wrestle Manny. So we gave him Bill Eadie.
Well, fuck you too.
Bill Eadie, you know, the Masked Superstar in Demolition Axe, in the 80s and the 90s, he was as stiff as they came.
Yeah.
Bill gave him the Manny beating. He walked out there with black eyes. You know? And I never knew why these guys wanted to pound on him so much. To this day, I don't know. You know? I don't know. I can't read all this here.
I know.
Says he thinks he was the best, but you made more money.
But who is he?
He won't. Only thing he wrote was Howell.
I don't know. Well, I did write. I ran Howell like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Blue Eye Brandy said that she wants your honest thoughts on the dead presidents.
I wish you guys teamed up when we were in New York. You know? My honest opinions? You two are probably the only reason I want to come back and run shows, because I feel horrible that you're finally champions. Lou knows how I feel about him, because the day I met Lou, I made him champion, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mean, I made you champion
the second show, the very next show. But we put me in the title match the first show.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, versus Mr. Puerto Rico, right? With his lazy nipple.
Yeah, that's right.
What about your thoughts on Mr. Puerto Rico? And
Ralph
the new Dynamite Kid.
Oh, do you know he reached out on me on Facebook before I got blocked for life from Facebook?
Who's that?
Ralph Soto. No,
okay.
Ralph Soto. Mr. Puerto Rico. Terrible worker. Terrible worker.
Horrendous.
Yeah, terrible worker. Very nice guy.
Oh yeah, he was a nice guy.
But you know, delusion is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, he thought he was good.
Yeah, you know, as I said, I've had close to 4,000 matches. Okay, the first 2 or 3 years I wrestled in the mid 80s. I'm sorry, 85 to 87. I was all right. I could do everything. You know, I could do drop kicks. I could do sunset flips, arm drags. I did everything.
Moonsault.
Oh, you were a regular Jim Cotta.
Yeah, I was everything. But it didn't correlate to the people watching.
Right.
People felt I was boring. So I stopped being serious and started wrestling like a buffoon. And wrestling like a buffoon got me booked on thousands of fair shows. Remember the fair shows, Lou?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you wrestled 3 or 4 times in one day on a fair. And being an idiot and having a stupid mouth and saying stupid things got me booked. One thing I was never delusional. You never heard me ever say I'm better than this one. I knew what I was. I was not a very good wrestler. You know, I was a pretty good bodybuilder. You know, I had 13 shows. I never took steroids. I finished second 7 times. I finished third 6 times. I got a handful of trophies for having the best arms in the shows. I was a really good baseball player. I probably made a big mistake by not being a baseball player. But
that money would have been
way
better.
But you know, I was never delusional. I knew what I was. As a promoter, people don't like that I'm very outspoken. My job as a promoter is to do nothing but put asses in the seats. That's it. Of course, if I don't give a good show, people won't come back. But people used to say to me for years, "Oh, Frank, with the ticket sellers, he couldn't sell a building without ticket sellers." Listen, my job, no matter what, is to get people in the building. And if Josh Dealey, right, is the hunchback freak, is a trained
Forgot about
wrestler.
that guy.
You know, he went to wrestling school.
He went to
was
Doghouse.
trained. You know, if this imbecile sells 20 tickets
She
at
never was him.
at $20 each, that's $400 in my pocket, right?
Yep.
That also means 20 people are coming to my show that never would have come before. And that's my job. And that's, people say, how did you have 1,000 people a show? How'd you have 800, 900, 1,000 show? That's how. My job is to fill the buildings. I won't listen to anybody. I am the greatest independent wrestling promoter ever. Out of 800 shows, over 400 times I sat 1,000 people. Before I started running shows in Florida, never did I seat under 500, except for the Road Warrior show, where I booked that show with 7 days notice and had 350 people. Other than that, before I came to Florida, I never had under 500, ever. Once I started running Florida regular, then we had the big sellout crowds.
You started packing them in.
Yeah, but back to Ralph, delusional. He thought he was great. And when you think you're great and you're not, is when you hurt people. And nobody could ever say, as bad as I was, that I ever hurt anybody.
Right.
You know? Come on, now give me somebody good.
Good.
Well, I got somebody here asking. Well, Eric Adams asked about Tim
We
Arson.
already talked about Tim Arson.
I talked
Oh,
about
okay.
Timmy. Timmy was great.
My internet was acting up before I had to basically jump out.
Okay.
I'm trying to see what else we got going on because I want to give people what they
What's this?
asked
Frank,
about.
talk about the Ring of Honor anniversary show. Okay, I'll talk. Again, I say this. Some people say I'm full of crap. That's fine. If Frank Goodman doesn't exist, neither does Ring of Honor. It's that simple. If I don't exist, and if Jack Sabbath doesn't exist, you got to give Jack credit. Ring of Honor doesn't exist. Okay, nobody used the guys we used. Ring of Honor went ahead, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. You know, I think it's great that Ring of Honor did that. I was the promoter on paper for the New York Ring of Honor shows and the upstate Ring of Honor shows. And when Ring of Honor did their anniversary show, I did a show the night before, and I had 800 or 900 people in the building. Ring of Honor did a show the next day. They had half that. That's cool. They bust fans in. Now, the State Athletic Commission is very difficult, you know, really difficult. And there's certain things you can't do. And they weren't allowed to have the riot. They did this riot. They had, you know, it was planned, you know, fans jumping over, but the fans were wrestlers and all that. But they were supposed to clear it with me because I have to clear it with the State Athletic Commission.
Right.
They didn't. And I wound up getting in a lot of trouble. That was the beginning of me getting in serious trouble at my shows. It then led to Balls doing a pile driver or something on his wife.
Was that the was that Ring of Honor riot thing? Was that when
Samoa Joe
joined the army?
Yeah. Oh, I don't even remember.
Choked out Negro's brother.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. But what happened is after that, the State Athletic Commission started really watching me. And I had to do everything super by the book. And, you know, Balls did this thing where he was going to hit a fan, but it was really his wife. Nobody knew. And he pile drived her. And I got served with papers at the next show because of what Balls did, which was preceded by the Ring of Honor thing. And after that, I told Ring of Honor I really didn't want to do business with them again. And they made me a very big offer to drive to Buffalo one more time after that. So I believe I drove up to Buffalo with Matt Stryker. And I got Matt on Ring of Honor. It was part of the condition. Pay me this, you striker. And after that, I said, you know what? Good luck, guys. It's not really for me, you know? That's it. And that was when Feinstein was there, just so everybody knows.
So I got, my son has always enjoyed wrestling. My question is, for you being the best promoter, would be steps he needs to take to get into the business. Is this Andy?
I think it might be.
Andy who?
I think it might be Andy. Andy, I can't say his last name, but his son is Ted.
His son is the one that we brought in the ring with us after we won the belt.
belts.
Oh, listen, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan of wrestling. I'm really not. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not a huge fan of people trying to get their family in it. It's a dirty business. I think one of the reasons we three get along is because we're not dirty.
Mm.
You know, listen, I pay everybody in advance. I don't take drugs. I don't drink. I try to make sure there's no drugs at my shows. But there's very, very, very few people in this business that are not either lowlifes, degenerates, delusional, or drug addicts, or all of the same. And I would not advocate for my child to be in this business.
Wow.
So, Andy, you know...
No, it's not Andy.
That's not
okay.
Andy. Andy said he chimed in also.
Okay. Well, whoever you are, mom or dad, you really want the future of your child. You want them being punched in the face by somebody who... You know, you really want your kid punched in the face for $10 or for $20, or maybe if they're a high-priced WWE superstar, for $500. You know, because that's what you're talking about. You know, guys on the indies, guys don't get $10,000 for an indie show, and if they do, the promoter should be ashamed of himself. I wouldn't advocate anybody putting their family in this business.
Right.
You know, sometimes I wish I was never in this business. I'm glad for the money I made. I'm glad I got to live on the beach, you know, but
Disney.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I should have been a baseball player. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I made a big mistake.
By the way, Andy, how you doing? Tell the family we said hi.
And these are not my glasses, just for the record.
Are those the Mrs. Maniac's glasses?
Yeah, she doesn't even wear glasses.
I'm just messing with you, Frank.
No, they are. They are.
Man, I'm trying to think of
Duke the Pitbull Snyder.
Another guy who reached out to me a couple of years ago.
So he was entertaining too.
I seen him on Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Apparently he was a clan leader, and he's in love with a black woman.
You know, I knew Duke for about, I want to say 10, 15 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this whole story about him being a white supremacist, I never saw it. Did you?
No.
I don't believe for a minute
but
that this guy was really...
Springer's a work.
Yeah, but he really says that he was one. But again, we're talking the delusional thing. You know, I like Duke. I think he's a nice man. I really do. He was a ticket seller. You know, hey, Frank, if you let me have this match, I'll pay you for 50 tickets. But the demands, you know, people used to say, how come he just vanished? Yeah. Because if you're selling,
couldn't afford to sell 50 tickets
anymore.
Well,
if you're selling 50 tickets to be on a wrestling show, you generally don't make demands. You know, like you know, I demand to go 20 minutes. I demand to win this. I demand. Come on, this is wrestling.
What about the ticket selling title that you made?
I had to. Rockshaw begged me.
And Rockshaw, the Omen.
Rockshaw, the pimp florist. The first time I met him, he told me that he was a pimp who worked in a florist.
He was.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. I don't think there's too many. Rockshaw is in the top 5 of the people I love in this business. Rockshaw owed me money. I didn't see him for 10 years. He writes me one day. He says, hey, Frank, I want to remind you I owe you $350. I'm having my girlfriend pay you today. And his girlfriend sent me the money. I love Rock Shaw.
No, actually,
I love him.
Person.
Listen, is Rock Shaw the greatest wrestler in the world? No.
No.
Is Rock Shaw as good as me? No. Okay? And I'm not good. But is Rock Shaw a really good person and a man of his word? Yes.
He's dedicated, man.
He's dedicated. He takes the business serious. He's not careless. People think he's careless in the ring. He's not careless.
He would never. He never wants to try and hurt anybody.
No,
he won't do anything that he's never done.
No, he's a really good person, and just like you two, until the day I stop wrestling, running shows, you guys and him are always on the shows. Like when somebody asked me how I felt about you two, anytime I do a show, whether you can make it or not, you guys are always one of my first calls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were a couple of years you didn't because you guys were getting your new careers started and stuff.
Yeah.
But there will never be a show that I promote where you two and Rockshaw don't even have to ask me. You show up, you're on the shows. You know? That's it, you know? But give me, come on. I want to trash something.
I got somebody right here. Somebody asked about Alex Red.
Oh, that's cool. See, there we go.
I know you love him.
All right. I have to try to remember now because it's very hard to remember certain stuff, okay? So this guy comes to me. I knew this. I only remembered this because of private messages. I looked at an old private message. So about 6, 7, 8 years ago, this guy writes me, Alex Red. I'm training to be a wrestler. It's not going really well, but I'm a singer. He goes, if I sell 100 tickets or whatever it was, I think it was 100. I don't remember. If I sell 100 tickets or 50 tickets or whatever, can we play at intermission to get publicity? I'm like, sure, absolutely.
100 tickets,
you know?
Fuck not.
You know, I'm very clear with everybody. You got to pay me in full a month before the show. If you can't sell the tickets, you own the tickets. They're yours.
Right.
Every week. Yeah, they're selling good. They're selling good. They're selling good. A month before the show, they're selling good. They're selling good. A week before the show, you know, come on, we're supposed to meet. You have the $2,000? I don't think it's fair you making me sell tickets. I said, what are you, an idiot? I said, you came to me and offered me to do it. And I'm making you? I said, get away from me, you idiot. I said, don't ever write me again. A couple of years go by. He reaches out to me. I'm the promoter of shitty wrestling in wherever. And I'm the biggest promoter out here. The biggest promoter out here, right? He gets 50 people a show. Okay. He does buy one, get one free. Okay. You know, if I say anything incorrect, you tell me. Gets 50 people a show, does buy one, get one free, and he gives away the other half for free. You know? Like all these people come to my show. How much? I said $25 a ticket. Alex Red lets us come for free. What do you want from me? So this schmuck is like, hey, can we do something together? I'm like, what? He says, I'll tell you what, how about if I come and video your shows and I'll do color commentary for you. In return, I'll pay you this amount of money, and I want you to put 2 of my tag teams on the show. What are their names? Yeah. Remember, you wrestled them. Nice kids.
What the fuck were they called?
Brothers in Arms.
Brothers in Arms, yes.
But nice kids.
Yeah, they were cool dudes.
But here's the thing. He paid me to put him on the show. So he's giving me all this money, and he's just acting like an idiot.
Actually, and then you make us put him over.
Yeah, well, because he paid me for it.
You should have paid us.
I should have paid you, yeah. So, you know, I'm getting irritated. And each show he's promising me, hey, I'll pay this guy to be on your show. I'll pay this guy to be on your show. And in the meantime, I have guys on my shows like Shane Douglas and Justin Credible and all those guys. And he's using this stupid, pathetic, moronic schmuck photographer to sneak in the locker room during the show.
Remember that? I remember
that
that.
little turd photographer, right?
Yeah, that thing.
He's using this guy to go into the locker room and cut promos. Right? Now the wrestlers think they're cutting promos for my show. He gets Shane Douglas to cut a promo, making Shane think that he's cutting it for me, but he's cutting it for this shitty wrestling show of his, wherever it is. And I said to him, I said, you can't do that crap. Oh, I'm sorry. I would never do that. In the meantime, I'm talking to Shane, and like a month later, he's paying guys double what anybody else pays. Like, you know what that, look, it's the wrestler's job to make as much money as humanly possible. It is. Look, if I pay Shane Douglas $500 and he gets 1,000 from this guy, that's great for Shane, but it ruins it for other promoters.
Yeah.
You know, it does. You pay guy $1,000 and everybody else is paying him 500. He's overpaying everybody because he's a mark. And he just wants to be friends with the wrestlers, right? So this guy tells me, he goes, listen, I'm going to video your show, okay? I'm going to do color commentary, and I'm paying the 4 wrestlers to be on your next show. He contacts me 3 days before the show, right? Oh, I have an opportunity to be a security guard at AEW, so I can't come. I said, wait a minute. It's 3 days before the show. You're supposed to be doing photography, color commentary, and you're paying guys to be on my show because you're a mark. And you're going to go be a bigger mark and not show up to my show so you can be a security guard and ring crew? And you're a wrestling promoter? So I just basically lose it, right? Yeah. So the guy writes something.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, Andy.
He writes something really nasty to me online. Now, remember something. Let's be clear here, okay? Let's be extremely clear, okay? I'm 268 pounds. I got 20-something inch arms. I act like an idiot in the wrestling ring because that's my job. The fact
Do that again,
is,
Frank. Do that again. There we go.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
There we go.
I see it. There we go.
Okay. The fact of the matter is, I can rip his arm out of the socket and beat him with it. And you guys know me, very nonviolent. Never do you hear me say, I'll beat this one up, I'll beat this one up. I never talk that way, I never behave that way. But one thing about me, I can really fight. It just happens to be a gift. When you grow up getting tied to a car at 10 years old and dragged down the street, you kind of learn how to fight, you know? And I had a bad shoulder surgery, you guys remember, and I went from 260 down to about 200, and I was kind of sickly looking. And the only time he met me was when I was sickly looking. And
that's why he wanted to fight you?
He mouthed off to me on the internet thinking I'm still sickly looking, not knowing I'm not sickly looking. I'm pretty healthy. You know, I mean, I'm 56 years old. I can incline press 500 pounds and I can flat bench 600 pounds. Doesn't make me a great fighter, even though I am. And I lost it and I called him up. And I said, who the do you think you're talking to? Really? I said, who do you think you're talking to? You know? And all of a sudden, he starts crying on the telephone. Crying. Oh, I'm thinking of killing myself. I want to kill myself. I'm suicidal. I want to kill myself. I don't know why I opened my mouth to you. Something wrong with me. I'm going to move away. Oh, I'm so depressed. It's horrible. I've never made any money. That's just all what he's telling me. I've never made a dime on wrestling shows. I don't run wrestling shows to make money. I run wrestling shows because I like wrestling. And I just lost it. I said, you know what? I said, you're a stupid idiot. I said, you're bad for the business and don't ever contact me again. You know? He then went ahead and I booked like 4 or 5 shows in advance. He went ahead and booked all 4 dates that I had. He contacted the Pope, right? Not the real Pope, but the Pope. He contacted the Pope. He contacted
Uses Wes Briscoe, I know.
Wes Briscoe. He contacted all the guys who were working for me. And he's given these guys like double what I give them. And he's given them jobs. Like he tells the Pope, "You're going to be my locker room guy." He tells Briscoe, "Well, you're going to run the whole show." And he's making these guys seem like all these things are, you know. I can't stand him. He is what's bad for wrestling. And then people say to me, "Why do you care if he gets 15 people and you get 600-700 in Florida?" And I'm going to tell you why. And maybe you guys will understand this now. Let's say this little turd burglar, right? Alex Red. Let's say Turd Boy. He has Shane Douglas and he had Justin Credible. He had every guy that I had on my show. He books on his show. That's what he did that time.
Mm-hmm.
He put the Sandman on.
Sabu.
He put Sabu on. Puts everybody that I put on my show.
Sandman fucking boxed like a finish to his heavyweight title match.
Yeah,
but just because
that was horrible.
You ever see Hack act like that at my show?
Not that bad. Not that bad.
Well, I'll be honest with you. You wouldn't put Hack in a situation where the world title's on the line.
Right, but Hack was not champion.
Was he?
You bet he was. Because in the ring, Hack doesn't behave that way at my shows. Okay? I'm going to tell you about Hack. Hack owed me $500 from an airline ticket I bought him. He went to jail. I bought him an airline ticket. He got arrested. He went to jail. 5 years later, I said, "Hey, Hack, I want to use you on the show." He's like, "You're still in Florida?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Listen," he goes, I owe you money. He goes, "I'll get myself to the show." Okay. Hack flew himself at his cost to my show in Florida. Okay. Hack may drink at my shows. He may act stupid, but he gave me 30, 40-minute Raven matches. You know, he knew that guy Alex was a mark and he knew what he can get away with. And that's what he did. But let me explain this to you. So this guy uses Sabu and Justin Credible and Sandman, everybody that I'm using on the show a week before, a week after him, right? And people say, "Well, why do you get upset that he only gets 15, 20 paid?" Right? Easy. Because when one of those 15 or 20 paid goes to his god-awful show and sees how bad it is, when they see a poster for my show with the same names, you know what they're going to say? "Oh, it's going to be the same shit show that I just saw." And that's why it's important that promoters do a good show. I want all promoters to do well. I like making fun of Jack. I love making fun of Jack. I made a career of making fun of Jack. But I never wanted Jack to do bad. Because if Jack did bad using the same talent I do, it reflects on my show.
You want to know something? I don't ever think Jack did bad. I just think Jack.
No, Jack never did. Jack did not do bad shows.
No.
Jack did poor paid attendance. Okay, I'm not saying bad attendance. I'm saying poor paid attendance. Jack at the beginning was too interested in saying, "Hi, I'm Jack. I'm a wrestling promoter. Hi, Jack. I jumped off the Elks Lodge balcony." Okay. Jack was too interested in being friends with the wrestlers. Once Jack matured and grew out of that is when Jack said, "All right, you know, want to know something? I need to make money." And that's a fact. That's a fact. You know, listen, I like making fun of Jack with the bounce checks. You know for a fact, Lou, and you can't say otherwise. Jack bounced hundreds of checks. Hundreds.
I'll be honest with you.
Jack made good on his checks.
I'll be honest with you, Frank. Jack never bounced nothing on me.
Because you wouldn't take a check.
Well, no, he actually gave us a check.
He gave us checks.
But let me
but he paid us almost the same way you did ahead of time.
But let me
a couple times, like
let me
he'd be like,
explain.
"Hey, come to our store, come to my store, and a week before the show. Hey, come to
Right.
my store.
But
Here goes your pay for the show.
Well, let me explain this though. The reason I was always so passionate about it, and I like Jack, I've always liked Jack, is because it was my license.
Yeah.
And I had a bond, and it was my bond. And people were contacting the athletic commission that he wasn't paying them. So, not to mention to this day, he still owes me money.
Oh man.
But it's okay. It is what it is. It's not a lot, But back to this idiot. This guy is what's wrong with wrestling. Alex Red is exactly what's wrong with wrestling. Listen, it's supposed to be a big deal to be a wrestler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you like it, Lou, that you trained and you've been a wrestler for 25 years? And do you like it that nobody's, just little shit kids just walk in and become wrestlers?
No, I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like
It annoys the fuck out of me.
Okay.
Too.
That run around every high spot in the book.
Right. It's supposed to be a big deal to be a wrestling promoter. I'm not saying everybody has to seat 500 or 1,000 people. Okay? Wrestling promoters, if you seat 50 people a show, you have no business promoting wrestling shows. Okay? You don't. If you don't make a dime, there's no reason for it. A grown-up, you do something to support your family. You do something to make money. Okay? This imbecile in South Florida is a pizza delivery boy. Okay?
Is that what he does?
Yes. He doesn't have another job. He delivers pizza. He works on tips. You know how I know that? Because he's told me that, and he writes it on Facebook every day. He writes on Facebook every day, how am I supposed to pay for the next wrestling show if you idiots are going to keep stiffing me on tips?
Wow.
All right? And listen, as I said with Shane Douglas, any job you get makes you somebody to be admired. If you have a job delivering pizza, you should be admired you have a job. You work at Target, you should be admired that you have a job working at Target. But don't play wrestling promoter when you can't pay everybody, when you can't pay your own bills. Yeah, it takes a whole... You want to look up to a wrestler. You want to look up to a promoter. It's supposed to be a big deal. You're not supposed to get your pizza delivered by a wrestling promoter. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I know it's America. You have the right to do whatever you want. But it reflects on the rest of the business. It reflects on the business. That's all.
Yeah.
It's like you. How do you feel about a security guard playing policeman? You like it?
Nope.
You respect security guards, don't you?
No, I respect
But you don't
all,
respect
all
the ones
law
that
enforcement,
make believe.
paralaw enforcement.
But you don't respect the ones that make believe they're police.
Right.
If you do a wrestling show and you got 15 people at the building, you're not a wrestling promoter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're right.
I'm always right. I'm Jewish. We're always right.
Hey. That reminds me of the day when I first started working for you. I was asking you a question. You go, listen, if your last name isn't Goldberg or Leibowitz, or then he goes, I don't want to talk to you.
I'll tell you a funny story with that. I always joke, my wife's Polynesian and she's 100% Asian, my wife. And we're doing a live video about 3 years ago. We're married 28 years.
Yeah.
And she's standing right next to me.
Guapo in the building. What's up, Guap?
Hey, Eddie. She's standing right next to me. And I probably had like 3,000 people. We were doing a show in the Disney group, and there's like 3,000 live viewers. And we're talking. And I look at her, and I said, Kath. She goes, what? I said, you're not white. She goes, of course I'm white. I said, no, you're not. I'm married to you 28 years. You're not white. She goes, I'm white. I said, was your mom white? She goes, no. I said, is your dad white? She goes, no. I said, Kath, you're not white. It took me all these years to realize I'm in an interracial marriage. You know, my wife's 100% Asian Polynesian.
Oh man.
You know, but I love everybody. I don't care.
So Frank,
Yeah.
what's the word? We got any news for USA Pro coming back?
Well, as I said
The
before,
world wants to know.
as I said,
Oh shit.
Sigmund. As I said, I collect toys. In case you didn't know, as I said the other day, last time we did this, the only place I'm going to run shows is where I own the food concession, and the building that we run. It's a big thing for us with the food, and just when the coronavirus started, there was a hurricane, and the tornado hit the roof of the building, and they have not repaired the roof of the building. So right now, I'm at the mercy of the state of Florida because it's an armory.
Right.
You know, we ran a wrestling show at the Jewish Center in
Your people.
yeah, not far from my house. That's right.
Oh yeah, we did. I remember that.
And they didn't give us the food concession. And you know, we make decent money on the tickets, but I mean,
we need Mrs. Goodman's burgers.
yeah, I mean, you know, when you run a wrestling show, if you have like 500 or 600 people, if that's all you get, you know, you're looking at $3,000 or $4,000 in food.
Right.
You know, if that's what you get. If you get 1,000 people, you're looking at a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as I said, you know, it's not just about putting on a good show. It's about making as much money. And Florida's not New York. I run New York. I know I'll get 1,000 people, but down here, you know, 500, 600, 700 people. I need the food concessions.
Yeah, man.
So until that ceiling is fixed, the roof is fixed, you know. Memories of the wrestling vixens. What was that? Why does that sound familiar?
What's that? Missy Hyatt.
Yeah,
Tammy.
Missy Hyatt, Tiffany, Bobcat.
Oh, was that X-rated thing that they did?
Yeah.
Man, hey, is Tammy still in jail?
No, she got out.
Did she?
Yeah, she got out a couple weeks ago.
She'll be back.
Man,
sooner than later.
That's some rough stuff, you know.
Yeah,
that's rough stuff. So what else we got? What are these questions?
You got EC egg rolls.
He's a moron. What a gutless coward. Can you imagine this? Imagine being such a gutless coward and being a wrestler, right? I mean, think of this, Lou. I'm 56 years old. Really? Who's scared of a 56-year-old man? Granted, I could like reach in his heart and pull his chest out, but I'm a 56-year-old man. I'm slow. I fart every time I stand up, and I really do. Every time I stand up, it's just I'm old, and he's terrified of me. You know,
Jesus Christ.
What a sniveling coward. How could you be a pro wrestler and a sniveling coward at the same time?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I wonder what Guapo would have to say about him. Guapo loves that guy.
I don't know. Hey, I'll tell you what, since you guys can't think of good names, how about I give you a couple?
Go ahead. Why don't you give us the people that you hate the most?
Well, I can't. There's not a lot. I'll tell you what. Here's one. I'm going to give you one. Just Incredible. Okay?
The belt.
All right. So, what?
He forgot his belt, and his pants were falling off. He looked like a fucking joke.
You know, PJ used to work for me all the time in New York, right?
He just great.
In order to get a really good, he has to be against a friend of his. Like, you put him against Balls, I was getting 30 minutes. You put him against Raven, I get 30, 40 minutes. Put him against D-Lo, 30, 40 minutes. I put him against Slick Wagner Brown. It was the worst 3 minutes I ever saw in my life.
What the hell?
And everything was good. Everything was good. And he's like, hey, Frank, I'm really down on my luck. Can you pay me in advance? And can you give me an airline ticket? I'm like, PJ, I don't like flying guys. So I pay him in advance. I give him an airline ticket.
I just got that, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. I pay him in advance. I give him an airline ticket. 10 years later, 12 years later. Hey, Frank, can you use me? I'm like, PJ, I'm still waiting for you to get on the plane 12 years ago. And, oh, man, I was just really effed up. It was a bad time of my life. I said, I'll tell you what. Same thing happened with the Sandman. I said, get yourself to Florida. You know what he did?
Got himself to Florida.
He got himself to Florida. And you know how much he asked for? Half of what he used to get.
Damn.
And he bled all over the place. Now, I heard bad stories about him in the mixing around with fans and stuff. But I will tell you this. The guy's a man of his word. And he really does try hard. I'm not a fan of guys that take drugs. I'm not. I'm very, very anti-drugs. Okay? The thing I like about PJ, he really does try. He's not one of these guys that really want to be a messed up guy. Mm-hmm. He really doesn't want to be. And, anybody that gets on an airplane at their own expense and makes good on a debt from 12 years ago, I'm good with him. I'm really good with him. I want to mention one other, Raven.
Okay.
Raven was champion of USA Pro Wrestling, I think, like 6 times. He gave me a 60-minute match versus Al Snow. He gave me a 45-minute match versus D'Lo Brown. Raven used to give us 30, 40, 50-minute matches every show. He was probably the greatest champion we ever had because of how hard he worked. And never a problem, always reliable, fantastic guy. And if he wasn't an F-up in his younger days, now you could disagree with me. You guys know the business really well too. If he wasn't a screw-up, he is the one guy that could have been as big as Stone Cold. If he, he got fired because he wouldn't get on air. He wouldn't wake up in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's why he wasn't in WWE anymore. Because, they want you to get on the plane at 9, 10 in the morning. He didn't want to get up. But I got to tell you something. He has the greatest mind for wrestling. Nobody has the mind he has. He really could have been Stone Cold. He could have been that big.
I hated that dude for a long time, Frank.
I bet you hated him until he was older, and he probably sat with you, and you like him now, right?
Well, it was it was one of us. It was the show that we did with Goodman, right, Lou? For Frank. I don't remember. I know we had a show. He was on the show.
It was the Elks Lodge. I know that.
It was at the Elks. We had some merch, and we asked you if it was cool to set it up on the table, and you were like, "Yeah, that's fine. Use the little table over there or whatnot." We ended up setting up. We had some girls selling our merch at the table. Basically, the corner of the table. He comes over, and so, like, I don't even remember exactly what happened. I know we wrestled. After our match was over, we walk out there and, we're mingling with the fans or whatnot. Walk over to the table and I see
intermission.
Yeah, I see the girl sitting there. None of our merch is on the table. It's sitting on like a chair next to her. I'm like, what? Why is our merch there? She's like, oh, he just took it off the table and put it on the chair. I'm like, who? So she's like, him. So I'm like, this dick face right here? And she's like, I'm like, this fucking guy right here? I'm like, man. So I told him straight up, man, I was fucking hot because I was like, come on, man. I told him, I was like, dude, you were on TV 2 weeks ago. Now you're over here doing shitty indie shows with us. And come on, man, like, cause you can't fucking hang anymore. You want to be a fucking asshole. Like, remember where the fuck you came from,
Yeah.
And, I basically told him how I felt, and
he probably took it because he's not confrontational.
Yeah, no, he sat there. He sat there like he used to in ECW in the fucking corner, and he just sat there, looked at me, and I'm like, I want to say it was probably like 2 years later. Mikey and Wayne used them on a show, and we went out after the show to go have some beers. And Mikey's like, LowRyda hates you. And he was like, he hates me? So he's like, yeah, man. So Mikey basically broke the ice with us, and he actually apologized. And afterwards, we sat there, we talked a little bit, and because for me, man, I remember when I'd stay up till 1:30 in the morning watching ECW. Raven was one of my favorites.
Yeah, he grew up.
Yeah, he grew up. He was all right with me after that. He owned up to it. He said, "Hey, I'm sorry about it, and it was what it was."
Yeah,
he didn't remember, obviously, but
yeah. You know what I always used to say? You have to imagine what the drop off mentally has to be.
Yeah.
You're on TV, you're the king of the world.
Yeah.
And then you're back to working in urine smelling buildings.
Mm-hmm. He went from ECW, WCW, WWE, and then he's back on Indies with, nobodies. and guys that were just like him that fell off the mountain, and now they're doing what they can for anywhere from $200 to $500.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you something. He was different. He would work for me I remember how I told you I used to book Boogalou.
Yeah.
If you go to Raven's website, it used to direct you to contact me. So I was his booking agent. So for me, he worked for me for,
Hey, you have a creeper behind you.
Yeah. That's Giant Willie.
Yeah, I saw him. He can't hide very well.
Crawling on the floor, yeah. But I would book him out, and he would get. I'm be honest. He would get thousands on the indies, thousands.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
He would get thousands, but thank God I didn't have to pay that because I got him other bookings.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Yeah, you got somebody.
Yeah, I'm reading.
The angle Frank.
I like the angle Frank did with Saturn and Homicide. Yeah, let me tell you what disappointed me about that. Never in a million years did I think that Saturn would blow up.
Well, Frank,
man, Homicide.
You're talking about Homicide. Frank. I saw Homicide blow up Jerry Lynn, and Jerry Lynn is in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, but Perry blew up immediately.
Yeah. Homicide can go, man.
Homicide can go.
You could put he could blow Guido up, and Guido's a machine.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Randy, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you.
You're right.
Yeah, thank you.
I got a funny story. So every time we would run a wrestling show in New York, now I'm sure all of you have used a toilet, right? So you have the toilet and you have the seat that you sit on, right?
Yeah.
So every wrestling show we're doing in New York, we're finding a pile. I'm not kidding you. Like this high, like Sigmund. As high as Sigmund on the seat. Like somebody is intentionally pooping and it's not going in the water. It's sitting on the seat.
Yeah, hover.
And we were calling him. What are we calling him?
Is this Darkfire?
I'm gonna tell you in a minute. Hold on. So, wasn't this shitter? Maybe it was the shitter.
It was the shitter. I remember that on the message board.
Yes, it was on the message board, and there would be pictures. And we're talking about a year, and we can't figure it out. So, I'm at the Elks Lodge. I'm downstairs. I'm talking to my wife. And Perry Saturn comes out of the bathroom. And he comes out and he walks over to me. And he's like, Frank, you got to go in there. So I walk in the bathroom and there's a pile of crap this high on the seat. And I look in there and Randy's standing there. And I said to Randy, why? He looks at me and goes, it's what I do. It was the craziest thing ever.
Anto, are you talking about Beef Wellington? Or
Beef
whatever his name-
Henderson.
Henderson.
I
yeah.
hear he's a roadie, a successful roadie for some famous rock and roll band.
Good for him, man. You're a nice kid.
What was the other kid's name? Rex, right? Or something
Yeah, my
like
nephew.
That's your nephew. How's he
That was your
doing?
nephew?
I have no contact with my family.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, well, I had a $55,000 comic book collection that magically vanished.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
And it didn't magically just vanish. He took pieces by pieces by pieces and was selling them.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, I mean, from what I
Well,
hear, I think he's married with kids, but you know, I stay away from everybody.
Man.
It's tough, man.
So Randy was the shitter, huh?
Yes, he was. Absolutely.
Do you want to indulge on the Dark Fire hot dog situation? Because I'm sure our fans would like to know.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, Randy was ring crew, and I'm wrestling, and he was in the guardrails, walking around eating a hot dog in the guardrails. You know, not where the fans are. He's walking inside the guardrails, and I flipped, and I dragged him in the ring, and you know, I took the hot dog and
Shoved it up his ass.
and after that, he refused to keep his clothes on in the ring. He used to take his clothes off every show. Like the last time, did we talk about the Norman Smiley thing?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Deer Park, and all of a sudden I hear people screaming, and I hear Norman screaming. There's a naked man. Randy's standing on the rope naked, fully erect. Fully erect. You know?
Jesus Christ.
Then there was a time that you guys got the garbage pail, and what did I hold him by his feet or something and dumped him in the garbage? Or
Yeah,
it was something like that, wasn't it?
You had us throw him in the ring. It was me. It was us, me, you, and Guap, right?
I don't remember.
Something.
I believe it was me, Louie, and Guapo, and we dragged him
We
back.
threw him in the garbage.
Yeah,
Then
we
we
threw him
shaved
in
his
the
head.
ring.
Were you there the day we shaved his head?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that was rough. He loved
A
every
lot
minute
of things.
of
A lot of things happened to that guy.
it. Man, let me tell you, you guys are going to say this is a Seinfeld story, but this is a true story. Okay. I had a brand new car. My car was maybe a week old.
You shit on your car.
No, I drove.
the hood.
I put him in the car and I drove him to do flyers.
Uh-huh.
And the stink of the car was so bad that we got rid of the car after a week.
Oh shit.
Yep. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I remember once I called his house up because he was supposed to meet. He's supposed to meet us to do flyers.
Did you
And
throw
his-
the keys in the car with the windows open to see if somebody would take it?
No. No. So I called up and his mom answered the phone, and I said, "Can I speak to Randy?" And not even a quarter of a second go by. She smacks him and says, "Get up and get your clothes on and get on the phone." And Randy gets on the phone. I said, "Randy, are you in bed with your mother?" And I don't remember his exact words, but he kind of admitted it. You know?
Shit.
I remember when she was at Deer Park in the men's room offering guys to get a ride home.
What?
Yeah.
Is this a true story or are you fucking with us?
Absolutely. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
What the hell?
Oh man.
Absolutely true.
Jesus Christ.
Who's writing Brian Wittenstein?
This is Awesome Anto 100.
Who is that?
We
Oh,
don't
no.
know. He hasn't divulged his name yet, but
Well,
he
so-
seems to know everybody.
so Brian Wittenstein.
He's doing awesome now.
Yeah,
me
Brian
tell
was
you.
like
He's a good dude, man.
Brian was like a 13-year-old kid,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
and
remember when he came to
his-
Gleason's to train with us.
his mom used to drop him off at my shows and so he can watch the wrestling shows. And then she'd go out and do whatever she does. And it got to the point where we would just drive him home with us, and his mom would pick him up from our house, because I think he lived in Oceanside. We lived in Atlantic Beach. And as he got older, he started helping me run the actual shows. He really did. Because, one thing about me, I don't watch wrestling. He would tell me who he thought was good. And he'd say, this guy's good, that guy's good, get this Bordell Walker guy. And I would use the guys he got.
So
and then he grew up, he went to college.
Well, no, he came to Gleason's first.
All right. That's how I met him. He goes to Gleason's. He pays Pat Tanaka to train him. Does that sound right?
Yeah, Pat Tanaka was there.
He came to Gleason's and
he paid Pat Tanaka to train him, and Pat took his money, and he came to me and said, "Can you get my money back?" And I wasn't going to get involved. It wasn't my business. But Brian went on to work for TNA, and then he went to WWE and got in trouble for bashing TNA or something, some weird thing.
No. I heard it was he was leaking like contract.
Yeah, it was something like that. Something like that.
When they expire or something like that.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what else. Brian would come up with such good match ideas that I don't know if you guys knew it. Do you guys remember that we were like the first indie company to be on pay-per-view? You remember that?
Yeah. Was the pay-per-view, right?
Well, even to this day, our matches air on Canadian pay-per-view. USA Pro Wrestling matches have been on Canadian pay-per-view thanks to Aaron Weiss for about the last 20 plus years. And if sometimes I'll go to like FY Video, whatever those video stores are called,
yeah.
And I'll look at the wrestling tapes, and I'm like, holy crap! There are USA Pro Wrestling tapes for sale, because Aaron Weiss went ahead and made these compilations of USA Pro Wrestling stuff, and a lot of it was due to Brian's good ideas. I never would have used AJ Styles and stuff like that. I mean, we were using those guys before anybody knew who they were. So, yeah, Brian was a good kid.
Now he's like an agent.
Yeah, he's like an agent.
Like a Hollywood agent over there. He lives in California. Good for him, man.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Every once in a while, he reaches out,
Yeah, I talk to him every once in a while. He's a good kid, man.
He is a good kid. He's a good kid.
His friend Charlie was a fuck boy, but he was good.
Who's that?
That was the Hardy Boy kid, right?
Yeah, he had a friend that he came to Gleason's with, and his friend
I remember something about that.
Yeah, they came to Gleason's.
Oh, that's right. I do remember him. He used to come to the first few USA Pro shows.
Yeah, the jackass. Like, I'm teaching him how to wrestle, and I'm working with the kid in the ring, and I was going to give him a boot, and as I go to throw the boot, he moves, and I almost hyperextended my leg, and right there I just beat the fuck out of him. And then he went around telling people that I abused them and all this stuff. I was like, I didn't abuse you. You didn't do what you were fucking told to do. But Brian was always good.
Brian was always good. So what other questions we got here?
I don't know. We're starting to run out.
No more questions for you, Frankie.
Everybody had enough of me.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I've had enough of me.
Starting to get late, People probably starting to hit that bed before they got to go hit the work.
Yeah, I've heard of people that go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody can go.
We all aspire to be you.
5 days a week.
Aspire to be 5 days a week. Listen, we go every day.
I saw it when I.
Does Disney have you on the payroll?
They should. My Facebook groups bring in so much money to Disney. Our groups have 400,000-500,000 active members.
Yeah.
But it's all right. It's all right. We eat at Disney like 5-6 days a week, But for us, because Disney is we live at the back entrance of Magic Kingdom. So
Okay.
for us, it's like if you guys go to your local restaurant. For us, I have to drive through Disney to go anywhere. You know, Xavier was great.
Yeah, he was.
Now Xavier's, I think his first match was for me.
No, he was working in Connecticut and stuff
Was
like
he?
that before. Yeah,
Oh,
because that's where I met him, and
Yeah.
I met him before he had wrestling gear. He was
his
wrestling
first
in
match for
Windbreakers.
me, he was 165 pounds, maybe.
He might have not even been that heavy.
Yeah,
No, he was
he
about
wrestled the
maybe
Metal
180.
Maniac because I didn't know he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Mhm.
Another one that just died out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got some Eric Adams asking about Jimmy Hustler.
Listen, you know, everybody loved Jimmy Hustler. Jimmy Hustler made up a lot of stories.
Mhm.
You know?
He did play a victim role.
Yeah, he really did. He made up a lot of stories. And, you know, I was very loyal to him. And he
Yeah.
made up some stories about me when he started running his wrestling shows.
His ABC wrestling.
Yeah, when he started running his ABC wrestling shows, he made up some stories. And listen, with me, I'm very unforgiving, so I don't know what to say. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I was very good to Jimmy. I was the only one that used him.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
guys,
remember you asking me what I thought of him. I was like, he's a good worker.
yeah. Well, you lied. Thank you.
No,
Lou.
he was a good worker. He was a decent worker.
Yeah.
He just wasn't marketable. He didn't have.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, I have a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
When people make up stories, you know. I remember he told somebody that I didn't pay him, and I always like to stick to the same story. How do you pay somebody who pays you to be on the shows?
Yep.
You know, Jimmy, it was a standing thing. Jimmy paid me $200 to be on the shows. He didn't sell any tickets. Nobody would buy his tickets. Paid me $200 to be on the shows. And then he told somebody, I'll say it, told somebody just like Slugger tells people, you know, another
Slugger.
fabricator.
Slugger.
Another one that doesn't know the truth if it bit him in the butt, you know?
Yeah.
You know, Slugger too. Slugger's telling people, yeah, Goodman stiffed me. Goodman stiffed you. You paid me to be on the show. What was I supposed to do? The money you handed me, I was supposed to turn around and hand it to you?
No,
Yo, Goodman better not tell people I sold tickets. I said, well, then you shouldn't have sold tickets. You know? And I'll tell you the funny thing about him, Mr. Fabrication, right?
Which one?
Slugger.
Okay.
Jason Knight and I went to some outdoor show in Astoria once. And when Jason and I went in, the promoter, who I can't remember who it was, he threw us out. He didn't want us there. I said, okay, well, we'll leave. And the promoter's like, yeah, but my security guard's going to throw you out. So Slugger comes over. And he's like, oh, you got to leave. I said, we'll leave in a minute. You know, he says, you got to leave now. I said, I'll leave in 1 second. And I had a Jets shirt on. And he looks at me, goes, you like the Jets? I go, yeah. He goes, I play for the Jets.
Yeah, he told everybody that shit.
Yeah. I said, and I looked him in the face. I said,
Told
what
us
are
he
you
played
for?
for San Diego State University. He told us to.
But I mean, I was always good to Slugger. Always good. Always very nice, very cordial to him until he writes on the internet that Frank Goodman didn't pay him. Yeah, I didn't pay him because he paid me to be on the show. Nobody wants to hear that. That always hurts, you know? That always hurts, you know?
Shit.
You got trying to think of it. Who? Oh man, trying to think of any other tremendous people that would have been entertaining to talk about.
I don't know. I mean, I love the WWE guys who when they train people, they tell their students, don't sell tickets for Frank Goodman. I'm like, why? Should I tell him you did?
Wow.
You know?
Who the hell said that?
Oh, every single guy, every single wrestling teacher tells their students, don't sell tickets for Frank Goodman. You should be getting paid right away. No, you put rings up. You could either put rings up, you could sell tickets to your family and friends. You know, let me tell you something about a ticket seller. How special a ticket seller is. Being a ticket seller is not anything to be embarrassed about. You know what it means? It means that 10 or 20 people are coming to see you. That's what it means.
Yeah.
You know? And if you can sell 10 tickets for people to come see you, it makes you more valuable than somebody who's famous. I mean, it's a valuable thing. What's this? Is
I don't
Sean
think
the
the
Mick?
Mick is dead.
Oh, he's not dead. You're
I
probably
don't think
Sean
he
the
is.
Mick. No, Sean actually is.
I haven't seen him in a while on Facebook.
No,
but
Sean is so
he's probably
passionate. All he
Facebook
cares
blocked
about is
again.
hockey.
Well, hockey's over though. The Lightning won.
I don't know. Sean loves hockey. Sean's great. He really.
But
My
I
kid,
feel like I haven't seen him on the internet in a little bit.
well,
so
he's not into
he
wrestling.
might be blocked again on Facebook.
Yeah,
I know he's always in Facebook jail.
Yeah, he's not into wrestling. You know.
You got somebody asking about Kevin Matthews?
Really want to know?
Sure.
All right. So it's not going to be nice. I'm gonna be honest. When I first met Kevin and Danny, okay, I thought Danny was a goofy kid.
He was.
Yeah, and I will tell you, Danny grew up to be a pretty good adult. He did. Danny grew up to be a pretty good adult.
I agree.
I did not dislike Kevin Matthews in the slightest bit. In the slightest bit. I used to fool around with him. I believe you're not Sean. I used to make jokes when I was younger. I used to say Kevin Matthews looked like Jason Voorhees without the mask. But I didn't mean anything by it. I thought he was a nice kid.
He was.
I really had nothing bad to say about Kevin Matthews. I didn't. And I don't know what happened. And for no reason, I'm keeping my voice down because of my kids. For no reason, he started writing on the internet that my son was gay. When my son was maybe 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah. And I said it then and I'll say it now. I would beat the living hell out of him. I would leave nothing. Absolutely nothing. He can act tough when he hears this and walk around, I'm 6'4", Bill DeMott. He can walk around and say whatever he wants. I'm not Bill DeMott. I mean, I want to think he would want to. See, here's the thing. If all he did is say to me, sorry, I would say, you know what? You just said something stupid. But the kid had 20 years to say sorry. And maybe to him, it was something that was just said in passing to be stupid. And maybe he doesn't give a second thought about it.
Yeah.
That's possible. I do. I take it extremely serious. And I would hate to think what would happen if I would. It's something that's been bothering me for 20 years. And, I hear what he's doing in New Jersey in the wrestling thing, his promotion. I don't know what he does there, but I heard it does well.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And he's doing Alaska too and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he seems like he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And maybe he grew up and maybe he matured.
Yeah, he did grow up.
But, and he might say to himself, watching this right now, he might say, oh, yeah, I'm not scared of Frank. He's 56 years old, like I said before. Oh, he's 56 and I'm 35 and I have steroids and everything. And I would leave nothing. It would take me 5 minutes. Actually, that's stupid. It would take me a minute. And most of it's because of the rage I have. All he needs to do is say, I said something really stupid. And because I always liked him. And that one thing he said about a child.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I don't know how I would feel about somebody saying some shit about my kids. So.
That one small thing has me, every time I see his name, I'm really upset. You know, when I did the wrestling show in New York last year or 2 years ago, I actually kept saying to myself, I hope he shows up to the show. You know? And if he just walked up and said, I'm sorry, if he wrote me and said, I'm sorry, if he wrote me and said, I don't remember saying it and it was stupid. But it bothers me because I liked him. I really did. I used to say stupid things making fun of him, and that was probably the wrong thing to do. But it was just one of the boys making a joke. You know? It bothers me because I thought he was an okay kid. You know? I think that's why it really bothers me. So as of right now, I think he's a low-life piece of shit. You know? That's where I am right now with it, you know? Just telling the truth, you know?
Hey,
How come you don't ask me good stuff, like New Jack or anything? Good stuff.
what is there to say
New
about
Jack.
that?
I got a lot of things to say about New Jack.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Fire off.
Well, for the first like 20 shows he worked for me, we got along great. Really good. Really good. Even though every show he came to, he brought drama. Unbelievable drama. But we always got along great. He would call up, we would just talk about nothing. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about, hey, Frank, I don't know why they called the show Good Times. They were never having good times. Always got along well. Then comes to one of my Florida shows. And he didn't like something that one of these kids did, and he hit the kid, but he hit the wrong kid. Like, I don't remember who it was, but he's like, this kid disrespected the business, and he went and he hit the kid, but he hit the wrong guy. When I say kid, we're talking about 20-something, but he hit the wrong kid. Right there, me and him were like a little iffy because I'm like, Jack, you can't just do that. Then I go in the ring. I think it was the show after that. And I did my whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hold Masked Maniac spiel.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably said the word penis 20 times. And he comes out. He comes in the locker room. I'm standing right at the door. And he's like, that's cheap heat. That's bull crap. He's cursing at me. And I said in front of everybody, I think you guys were probably there. And were you there that night?
Nah.
And
I don't remember Jack being on any shows with us down here. I remember up in New York.
Oh, he was on like 12 of my shows down here. And he's cursing at me in front of everybody. And I lost it. And I'm like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? I said, first off, this is my show. Second of all, we all say things to get cheap heat. Every single thing that we do is to get cheap heat.
Shit, he said a lot of shit to get cheap heat.
Yeah, I said, that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there was just something else on his mind that had nothing to do with me, but I'm who he decided to pick at. And I just started yelling at him, and he yelled at me, and we were screaming. And rather than stand there and continue screaming, he walks out to the ring, and he grabs a garbage pail, and he empties it all over the building. And I went out in front of all the fans, and I'm yelling at him, and he's yelling at me, and I have to pick up all the crap. Because we don't have a cleaning crew.
Right.
So I pick up all the crap, and I follow him into another room, and it's just me and him. And we're not yelling, but we're talking firmly. And I'm like, you know what's funny? I said, I'm your best friend
when you need a
when you can't pay a bill. When you want to be paid in advance. Oh, Frank, don't go there. Oh, Frank, don't go there. You know? And then he finally just said, listen, we're friends and we're not going to talk about this anymore. And he didn't talk to me for about 6 months. And then he calls me and he's like, well, he wrote on Facebook. He's like, how come I'm not on the show, the next poster show? It's because I'm black, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
Jack, you stopped calling me 6 months ago. I said, we've done 6 shows since then. He goes, how come I'm not on the flyer? I said, because you're not booked.
Because you're not,
He goes,
you're not on the show.
he goes, well, he goes, can you put me on? I said, okay, I'll put you on the show. I put him on the show. He says he'll drive and all this other stuff. And he had another tantrum with me because I didn't get him on the flyer fast enough. And and he wanted me to send him money. And I didn't want to send him any more money. You know? I mean, I'm going to say this. I never sent him money and he didn't come. He always came. Always. But, you know, there was a point. Look, to be very honest, I don't have to work. You know? I don't have to work. Okay? But like everybody else, there was a time where when I was younger, I really did. I had so much money that I probably never had to work another day in my life. Okay. I saved all my money. I used to own 2 gyms. I owned 2 personal training businesses. I owned 3 sporting goods stores, and my wrestling shows did very well. And I really never had to work again. And I moved to Australia, and we blew everything. And I came, and you're talking about somebody who had a lot of money. And I came back to America in 2008. I had $40 in my pocket. Okay.
Wow.
And I was loaded. I had $40 in my pocket. My right arm, I don't know if you guys knew, my right arm severed off the bone once. Somebody jumped over a weight and tripped and fell on me in the gym.
I remember you telling that story.
Yeah, my whole
some,
right arm.
Some housewife, right?
Yep, some housewife. My right arm got rebuilt. So it cost me $167,000 in surgeries. Okay. I had $40 in my pocket. I never had a job in my life. Okay. I had to get a job as a bouncer. Okay. I took Scorpio with me. So me and him are bouncing in nightclubs. Okay. Me and Scorpio are fist fighting every night with 20 and he'll tell you this, 20 and 30 guys a night. Me and Scorpio are fist fighting. Here I am in my 40s. Okay. I'm 43 years old, $40 in my pocket, and I'm working as a bouncer. I don't have a pot to piss in. I have $8 in my pocket when Christmas came. Okay. We lost our house. We lost our car. Because I moved out of the country. I didn't think I was ever coming back. I stumble into a gym. I become the general manager. I make enough money to run some wrestling shows. I start saving it, making them bigger. I'm making 6 figures at the gym. Next thing you know it, here I am. I never have to work again if I don't want to. But when I was struggling, okay, you know, it was, I mean, I just want you guys to understand, I had it bad. Never, ever, ever did I turn around and do, I don't know. I just felt I wanted people to understand that I'm not just some guy who has a lot. You know, I had nothing. And then I started running the wrestling shows again, and he's begging me for money when I got $8 in the bank. And I just start running the shows again, and he's not understanding. When he's writing me, he's like, I can't pay my electric bill. I said, well, neither can I. You know? And at the time, I have him, I have Vito, I have, who else was begging me for money all the time? Can't remember. But these guys They beg and beg and beg and beg for money. And Jack just didn't understand when somebody didn't have the money to send.
Mhm.
You know, you're not booked on any shows, but you want me to advance your money. You know, and I got a wife, I got kids, I got to pay bills.
Right.
And
Right.
it caused friction between me and him for probably 2 or 3 years. And then about 6 months ago, he started writing me to watch him on TV, you know, to watch this show of his on TV. And then we just started talking, and he's like, isn't it good that we could talk to each other when it didn't involve wrestling anymore? You know?
Mhm.
And then I heard he passed away,
Yeah.
you know? Then I heard he passed away. But I'm numb to all the guys dying.
Yeah, it's becoming common now, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Over the years, it's crazy how we've just seen so many people just expire, right?
yeah. But, you know, I mean, look, you can't do bad things to your body your whole life.
Right.
You know, I mean, look at me. I never took drugs. I never drank. I never smoked. Okay. I'm on 1,500 milligrams of blood pressure medicine a day. I'm on 1,000 milligrams of diabetes medicine a day. I have heart disease. I now have kidney issues because of the amount of pills I have to take. I've had 24 concussions because I suck as a wrestler. I need double hip, double back surgery. I need another shoulder surgery. I need 2 bicep surgeries, and my lower tricep needs to be operated on. And I need neck surgery because I have a break in my neck, so I have to turn to talk.
Why don't you
Okay.
just become the Bionic Man and get it over
No
with?
way. I'm done with surgery. But, you know, you don't see me going and taking drugs and doing all that stuff. To me, it's weakness. All these people are weak. And I don't pity when people do stuff, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm cold to it, you know?
I hear you. You're right. You're right.
I'm always right because I'm Jewish. Remember, we said that before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So anything else before we go?
Nah, that's about
I
it,
think
Frank.
that's pretty much it, Frankie.
All right. Next time, be organized.
Oh, we always organize. You
You got
just
to have a
hijacked.
list of people.
You just
want to
hijacked the
talk
show.
about. If I hijacked the show, you would know if I hijacked the show.
Hey, no, but we wanted to come up with some of the most obscure people. That's why.
That's all right.
Yeah, we're trying to remember the some of the numbnuts that you had on
Who's
there.
that? Who's struggling? Struggle, New Jersey.
I don't know.
No clue, but they're on.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Well,
Struggle, New Jersey.
hold on. Before you thank everybody, listen. These guys can't keep doing shows for 20 people. Okay, you guys got to share this link. So all you people watching, Miss Michelle, listen, Mega, and everybody else, share this link everywhere. Every bit of social media, spam social media with these links. You know, I mean, we used to get 4, 5, 6,000 live viewers. These guys need to have thousands of viewers, not 20 people. You're all shameless. You're all, come on, spread the word. I feel like I'm in a Jack Sabbath show in here.
Oh Lord.
Oh wow, cold-blooded.
I'm kidding, Jack. I'm just kidding. I love you. I'm only fooling. All right. Wait a minute. Did I tell you HR puffin stuff?
No, there he goes.
All right, I got to get out of here. This is
Frank,
All right,
thank
Frank.
you. We do appreciate you for coming on.
Oh, get out of here. It's okay.
Hey,
You
give
know.
give our best to your family.
I will, Louis. As soon as we know when we're going to do another show, I'll let you guys know.
We could always shoot the shit one day and just go get something to eat too. We're all in Florida.
No.
Oh,
He's not hanging out. He doesn't
hanging out.
mingle with people right now. He's
I'm
still
famous.
scared of COVID.
he's Jewish. Remember, he just finished telling us he's Jewish.
Listen, I'm famous. You guys aren't. Hey, you know what? We can go to Portillo's.
There we go.
Is that the place you were talking about last time?
Yeah. Oh my God, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh my
Let's
God.
do it.
Okay,
Frankie,
I'll see you
thank
guys
you for
later.
coming on.
All right,
Bye,
Frank.
guys.
Tell the family we say hi.
Yeah. How do I turn this off?
I got you.
Peace
Deuces.
out. Yeah, for real. Oh man. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Always a great show with Frank.
We ended up doing 2 hours and 20 minutes on this one, guys. We do appreciate y'all for staying on for as long as y'all did. If some of y'all had to go early, we understand. You know, it is late. We do know y'all have probably work tomorrow. So
remember, Wrestle Universe, WrestleUniverse.com.
That guy got work tomorrow.
I do have work in the morning. Remember, check out WrestleUniverse.com. Check out his autograph signings he got coming up. He has merchandise, everything you need. That's your one-stop shop. Also, sleeves.com. Check them out. Use our code MWA pod and get your 10% discount. And also, Healthy Vape Alternatives. They even got vitamin-infused vapes and everything you need there, too. And that you get a 10% discount also with them using MWA Pod.
Shout out to Cicadas for doing our awesome intro video. Well, they do our music for our intro video. Thank you. And they also do the intro music for all of the
MWA
podcast shows. Make sure y'all tune in to Killing the Business with Angel and King Mega and Glenn Sexton.
The Crisco Kid.
Yeah. Make sure y'all tune in to Get Funked with Alan Funk. We do appreciate y'all for doing all of that. And last but not least,
Shooting the Shit Uncensored with our man Pierce Austin, the Aussie podcast machine. You never know when one of his shows is going to pop off, so definitely check it out.
Yeah, guys. We do.
Guys, follow that, like and subscribe. Tell your friends all about us. And if you like this show, go back and check out all the other shows. We had some good.
Thanks for watching, stuff. Brother.
And we're out.
We do appreciate y'all. Keep tuning in weekly if y'all can. Thank y'all. Be safe.
Peace. Take us out, Chum.
Yeah, I'm trying to, bro.